There is a time when we had pre-university, and on a few occasions, even when somebody has started the university, they would go through NYS. But I'm not aware of any place where you can get in one piece any information concerning the NYS that is specifically to do with the university. I'm not aware of any place where you can just go and find all the information that you wanted to know. You want to know when, now, even though the training centers were that's the normal NYS place, the uniform was the same, classes and everything was the same, and even the syllabus was the same with the normal NYS. But nobody talks about how this specifically is a specific team that was of young men and young women who would go there before and in a very few occasions after they had started their university. I'm trying to explain how it all started. During my time, that is when that idea came up. It came up during my time. And during my time, we had only 2 universities in Kenya, Baraton, which was a private religious university, and Nairobi University. What today we have as KU, Kenyatta University, was called KUC, Kenyatta University College. Kenyatta University College had one faculty of Nairobi University. That was the faculty of education. Nowadays, I hear universities call that School of Education. Nowadays, universities are not using the word faculty, but using school of. Now, the Faculty of Education in Kenyatta University taught only 3 subjects. You could either get Bachelor of Education Science or Bachelor of Education Arts or Bachelor of Education General. Now, when you are going to Kenyatta University, there is this roundabout at museum. There is a big field there where students used to be admitted there. And if you are being admitted to Kenyatta University College, then you would board a vehicle, a bus after registering, and then you'll stay for the 3 years. Yes, we used to spend 3 years in university. We'd spend 3 years without stepping at all at Nairobi University until the day when you'll graduate. That is when all of you will graduate, those from Kenyatta University College and those from Nairobi University main campus. That is why you find people in their 60s, 70s, and above do refer to Nairobi University as main campus, because Kenyatta University College, which today is called Kenyatta University or KU, used to be called Kenyatta University College, a constituent college of Nairobi University. Now, before the 82 attempted coup, there used to be cases where university students would riot. And whenever they used to riot, the medicine that the university administration first thought of, they would suspend classes and all students would be asked to go home. So, if the class of, let's say, 1975 rioted, And they went home and stayed for a month. Then the class of 1976 rioted and went home for a month. Then the class of 1977 rioted, went home for a... You're getting me? You'll find that at the end of the time, students would complete their Form 6, and instead of spending a few weeks or a few months and joining the university, they waited until those who were in the university to graduate so that they now join the university. So as they were waiting, they used to be idle, but not that idle, because those days teachers were in short supply. Many of the Form 6s who are waiting to join the university used to go to nearby schools and teach as untrained teachers, or UTs. So, even though they were teaching as UTs, and even after joining the university during the first year and second year, and even third year, whenever they used to be on long holiday, they would go to a nearby school and be untrained teachers, where they used to be paid 885 shillings per month. Now, this delay had talked of, the delay that this year they delayed by one month because of riot. Then the next, it was found that many students spend a lot of their time at home. So an idea came up that why don't we copy other countries where students who are waiting to join the universities can do a national service. I am sure those who started this, because they even came to our class when I was in Form 6, and this thing, when something is being started and it is in a discussion manner, usually the government has not made a final decision and such things. But things were being asked as to what productive things that the youths could do. Kilua imeingia kidogo. A place where the youths could do something as they await to join the university. And it was agreed, as copied from other countries, that such a thing would be of national assistance. Where the youths would not get a salary but would get pocket money. So it was decided that after basic drill, basic paramilitary course, lasting about a few weeks, then these pre-university students would then undertake various, according to your competence based. If you are very good in accounts, you go to the government and do some accounting there free of charge, of course, after getting a few coins, which are pocket money. If you were somebody who wanted to be a doctor, maybe you'd be forwarded to a hospital where you'd learn the basic things, such as patient recording, patient filing, such a thing. So it was something we were being asked, and we were discussing something which was to go along that way. I remember when I was doing my Form 6, in the month of August 1981, Mr. Nathan Sanya Anaswa, who was the headmaster of Bungoma High School, aka Bungoma Boys, he set out in the Voice of Kenya VOK an announcement where he called all the Form 6s to go back to school and fill in the forms for the NYS. These are something that the government was, it was an idea that they were practicing, it was an idea that they were starting, it was an idea that they were doing. So there was a lot of confusion whereby you could not find an individual who could tell you everything. But then he announced it on radio, and I did not hear it. But those who heard it went to school and they filled in the forms. I was told by my classmates later, because I asked, what were you feeling? They were given a few things that they could do. Could you maybe do a bit of accounts? Could you do a bit of teaching? Could you do a bit of hospitals? Those things that your heart and your competence directed you. Such that at that time, students used to stay a complete year before going to the university, whereby after completing your advanced level Form 6 and passed to join the university, you were supposed to do the national service for 1 year. Because those who are there maybe a decade before us, or even 5 or 6 years before us, they used to just get results. After a few weeks, they go to university. But during our time, you get the results, and then the time when you'll be joining the university is exactly 1 year to the time when you sat for your A-levels. So that is how they came about. And when they decided that, now there was also another confusion. There was another confusion because they wanted to say that it was before you joined the university. But you know, the university had limited positions. So it was limited by two facts. First, there was limitation in spacing. And then there was also a limitation in education, because not everybody who sat for the exam got qualified to join the university. So there was a confusion. Do you take all the Form 6s to undertake the national service, or do you take only those who are qualified to join the university? And as they were trying this try and error, we opened our schools in September 1981, and I went to school. And as is normal, once they have completed the parade, they say, can we have the following students to the office? Me, I was called to the office, and I was asked, why didn't you come to fill in the forms? And then I didn't, you see, when you're cornered, you can't even say I didn't hear, I didn't, because I knew of it when we reopened school. But I told him that I had heard of the thing, but I was there in Garissa. So he asked me, you mean you're staying in Garissa? I said, yes. My father had been transferred to Garissa to be the provincial detective, provincial crime in PCIO, principal provincial criminal intelligence officer. And you can remember a year later we were neighbors with General Mahmoud. So when I said that, the headmaster dismissed me and told me to go to class. And a few days later, he called me back to the office. And you know, you get worried that you are being called to be punished because you didn't turn up. Then he told me that he had presented my case to the school board, where he had told them that my father had been transferred to Shifter area, and the school board asked of how much money I had not paid, and it had found that I was still having 500 unpaid. So I was given a bursary that I did not apply of 500 shillings. Now, my school fees for Form 5 and 6 2 years was 2,000 shillings, inclusive of tuition, boarding, and even uniform, 1,000 per year. So those who filled in those forms, and I remember I was not even given those forms to fill in. Then we completed our education on 30th November 1981, and nobody was talking about NYS or the national service. Actually, it used to be called national service for the A-levels, but we were to be trained within the NYS facilities. So we completed our Form 6 in 1981, November 30th. I mean, that is the day I did my last paper. In a boarding school, you do your last paper, then you go and clear with the boarding master and everybody, you go home. Me, I did my last paper on November 30th, 1981. So we went, nobody was calling us. Then 9 months later, there was a coup attempt. Then when there was a coup attempt, the university now was closed for a very long time, whereby we were complaining that we were staying out for 1 year. Now it was going to, students were finding themselves staying for 2 years. And that is when they decided that students, before going to the universities, or the university during my time, but later it used to be universities, they had to go a youth service course, a national service course for the youths, not to be confused for national service, pre-university. Now for practice, because the facilities were less and whatever, it was strictly for those students who went to the university, who were called to the university. And what were they taught? They were just taught the normal. Because I tried to talk to them, I even talked to my stepbrother, Richard, who told me that what they were taught was just the normal, the NYS that had been taught there before, then, and even now. That is what they were taught. When they were taught, but it reached a time when they said that there are some students who, even if they were called to the university, they were exempted from the NYS course. These were girls who were pregnant. These were people, both boys and girls, who had medical conditions that they could not allow them to undertake a paramilitary course. This thing went on that way, and as I've said, nothing apart from what is taught in the NYS that they were taught. But since the facilities were less than the number of students, because as time went, more public universities came up, and they found that taking all the students at one go was a challenge. So they were divided into two. Some went there before joining the university, and some went during the long holiday, during the long vacation of their first year. When and how was it discontinued? You see, these are people who have been trained in marching. And in the first lot that completed the course, Daniel Arap Moi, the then president, was so happy about them that he said that as they departed the NYS, they were not to surrender the uniform. Moi gifted them as their uniform so that they go home and it becomes part of their clothing. Big mistake. Big mistake. So when they went to the university, one time they went to riot. And what did they do? You see, the other times they used to riot and whatever, and they were in civilians. But this time they decided to riot while in the NYS uniform. So one of them became a squad leader, and he told the students that he started marching. Parade, chain, quick, march, left, right, quick. Then they discovered that, okay, they can march and whatever, and they were putting on uniform. So they were rounded up, the uniform was confiscated, and that was the end of the... And then again, another thing that they discovered during that time, I don't know whether it is still there nowadays, was that our time staying in the university was so short. Because you are there first year, second year as you are about to be used to, then there is the final year that but having passed through the NYS, you were placed in a regimental way in such that if they organized a strike or a riot in the university, it was a bit easier because they had known each other. And as you know about regimentation, they had already known each other, and it was it was easy to organize them military wise. So that is why and when it was discontinued.